Good morning and welcome to another episode of Unscripted and Unchained RPG Review. I am Castlekeeper Bloodworth, and as you can see by the graphics, today's video is a return to the character class spotlights series for this channel. And today I'm going to be taking a look at the Foresworn. So these are the character classes that are coming out of the adventurer's backpack. They're obviously supplemental and optional, and in many cases, as we've seen from all of the previous videos, these are very much niche, kind of role-play intensive character classes in order to play. So they're not always very well suited, let's say, for everyday play. That you might use them in a very specific campaign, or as NPCs in a very specific use of an encounter or scenario or whatever they happen to fall into. So yeah, it's some of these are very unique, I will say. And of all of the ones that I've seen thus far, the Forsworn, and this will certainly put it out there that I am not a 1,000% sycophant for castles and crusades, and essentially every once in a blue moon I will come across something that has me scratching my head a little bit. And The Forsworn is one of those, because I think conceptually it kind of falls short of making a whole lot of sense, or at least in my opinion, I think I would have come up with a better concept for it. Or at least explained it a little bit better. So you'll see as we dig in. So, you know, it's one of those rare occasions where I'm like, I don't know about this one so much. So let's take a look at it. So here we go, the Forsworn, which is a charisma focused class. And again, I'm going to question that charisma as well as being the primary attribute for it. So it's kind of weird. So um, only if you consider it's kind of a cleric based or priest based class. So I don't know. It's kind of weird. So service to the gods and their priests yields many fruits, from the comfort of security to the suffering of labor unrewarded. But no matter the service, its nature, origins, or outcome, it always yields a tyranny of control and the binding of the spirit to the priests who act for the gods or pretend to. It is religious tyranny that many have suffered and endured, living out their days bound to the higher power. But there are those who serve who question their service. Those who served, it should be, well, question their service, who looked upon the priests and temples and wonder what power they truly serve. These few turn their backs on all those who have, though all of those who would have dominance over them and push out into the wider world, leaving the comfort of tyranny to forge a path of their own and to live or die by their own merits. These are the Forsworn. The Forsworn is one who has taken as a youth into the bosom of the warrior priest's life, serving one god or the other, a prelate, priest, or warrior monk. Mired in the faith of men and the affairs of the gods, the Forsworn learned at a young age the harsh realities that surround the motives of the divine. They have learned that they are but tools in the greater game that no servant can win. To win it, the game must be played on one's own terms. They have traveled to many realms over the sea and into the wilds where few tread. A quick wit, intelligence, and commanding presence allows them to rise to the top of their companies and to earn or take their freedom. However acquired, this freedom is dear to them and shared with only a few. Those few are companions for life. It is around these friends and their collective freedom that the Forsworn build their ethos, for one has only one's wits and one's friends with which to play the game. Everything else is a tool or an enemy. They are loyal to their companions, patient and accepting, but are damnably hard upon their enemies. The Forsworn is a warrior who understands that almost anything can be used as a weapon. A wagon wheel coated in grease and oil and set to flame can roll down the mountain, causing chaos and wreaking havoc as it goes. For this reason, they will use any weapon at any time. Though they are raised serving the gods in some religious army or cult, and were often forced to wear particular garb or armaments, they have long since set those peculiarities aside. A shield is a tool, as is a helm, as is a chain shirt of a fallen enemy. Armor is for protecting the body, not sending a message. Their abilities. Attribute bonus. They begin play with a +1 bonus to intelligence. Again, they're a charisma based, so I don't know why intelligence is coming in here. Divine knowledge. The Forsworn gains a +1 bonus to saving throws against all divine spells cast on them. Iron certainty. Though the gods may interfere or set aside aid and balance or even act against you, in the end, it is one's own ability that will tell the story's end. The Forsworn possess an iron confidence in themselves and their own abilities. They are not plagued by doubt or indecision, but face things with a confidence that only truly independent spirits can attain. Here, the Forsworn shine, and their minds are ripe with ideas. The Forsworn try all manner of devices in war or peace. The pitched covered hoop set aflame and hurled upon the enemies from high castle walls, an empty barrel used for a raft, a bag of bones used to lure the devil from their intended target. For this reason, they gain a bonus to all attribute checks as per the table below. This bonus is added to any other bonuses when making an attribute check. Furthermore, their clarity of purpose imparts a similar confidence in their companions, granting them attribute bonuses and as noted below. So at levels 1 through 2, they get a +1 attribute bonus when making attribute checks. That is across all attributes. Um, Levels 2 to 3, a +2 bonus to all attribute checks. 5 to 6, still +2. 7 to 8, +3. 9 to 10, +3. All the way through 12 is a +3, and then 13 and above would be a +4 attribute check. That's pretty powerful. Not to be to be completely clear, that is very powerful abilities to get attribute check bonuses at that level. I mean, even a +2. So once they hit levels 3 and 4, or 3 through 6, getting a +2 attribute check bonus makes them very, very versatile. Languages. Because their youth was spent in the service of a religious army, and they are encountered many people from many walks of life, the Forsworn begins play with the common tongue and 3 additional languages. All right. Muscle memory. At 5th level, the Forsworn particular background and training has imbued them with the almost spiritual concentration on the task at hand. Their actions and reactions are governed by instinct training and muscle memory. This grants the Foresworn their dexterity bonus to all initiative rolls. At 10th level, their growing skill and confidence are reflected in their heightened dexterity. At this point, dexterity becomes an additional primary attribute. If they already possessed about if they already possess the dexterity as a primary attribute, they do not receive any additional bonus. So this is something to contemplate when you're creating your character. Um, if you anticipate lasting long enough to get to 10th level and you're playing this class, and you hadn't already selected dexterity as a primary attribute, then you might hold off on it, expecting to get to level 10, and then you would gain it once attaining level 10. Um, Castles and Crusades is not the kind of game system where you can fairly guarantee that you'll get to level 10. So interesting, but really good for demi-humans, which might only get two primary attributes to begin with. All right, so for them, it would actually be very good. Combat attrition. At level 10, the Foresworn is a force to be reckoned with. They have long since come to terms with the gods and the power that they hold over mortals. Their knowledge and acceptance of it allows them to channel and use the power against their foes. They project an aura of almost godlike confidence. All those who fight them are worn down, disheartened, and wounded. Each round that a creature fights the Foresworn is allowed to make a charisma check. If successful, their opponents suffer an additional d4 points of damage above and beyond any damage received that round. However, combat attrition cannot kill an opponent, only reduce them to 1 hit point. The hit point loss occurs to any creature within 15 feet of the Foresworn who is actively engaged in fighting them. All right. That is, first of all, it's powerful. Secondly, what a real struggle for the castle keeper to keep track of which hit point is the last remaining hit point before reaching 0 hit points. Um, Especially since this is per round additional. Um, yeah, that's you would have to separate and have a running, um, a number line of, for each character in that 15-foot circle, receiving those points. It's kind a points of damage. That's a nightmare, to be honest with you, and it's not something that I would want to keep track of. So their prime attribute is charisma, any neutral. So their alignment is any neutral. Again, um, kind of strange. I guess they could be neutral good, neutral, or neutral evil. So you can get the that spectrum across. They use a D10 hit die, any weapon, any armor, and they start getting their bonuses to hit at level 2. And let's see if there's any duplication. No, so they will go all the way up to a plus 11 by level 12. And there we have the Foresworn. So I'm going to switch views here. The Foresworn, and here I put up a warrior priest as the image to reflect it, because it was too hard to get the one out of the book and to make it fit the right image. It was stretched. It looked short and fat and blurred. So anyway, um, the Foresworn seems to be one that is rejecting the the church, or temple or religion, the man dominated religion that they were in, um, yet not rejecting their God, per se. So, I think that a lot of their abilities should be when combating that as their foe, right? When combating a political theocracy, or very much more specific. You know, these would of course be characters, at least the way I would envision them. Um, they would have a natural enemy in their previous, temple, religion, church, whatever you wanted to call it, that organization. They would be hunted by them. They would actively work against them, almost like which would make sense for their name of Foresworn, but there's just not enough development along that line, in my opinion. So it would be, I think that the description of the class would have been better served to highlight that fracture between having been brought up as a warrior priest within a religious organization, and then breaking away as they realize that the organization is serving its human needs and nature more so than the deities. But at the same time, in the description, it's talking about, well, but I don't want to be a pawn of a deity, and so I am going to place it in myself. And so they would have no religious aspect to them as well, and be like a totally separate from it. But that would make their previous religion their true foe. And again, that I think needs to be expressed in the class features more so. So almost like a ranger has a bonus against their primary foe. The Forsworn could have had something along those lines as well against um, that very specific religious sect, or whatever. Um, so, and I don't see it so much as a charisma based class, even though their bond of friendship becomes very, very important. um, but I would have I would have probably gone more with wisdom, so that they could have a better understanding of the religion that they've broken from and are in opposition of. And their wisdom would also give them a greater saving throw versus divine magic to begin with. And so um, when they get that even further ability, uh, that it would just be like super strength towards it. So they'd be almost, it'd be very, very hard pressed um, not to be almost immune, let's say, to divine magic. And then later on, when they hit that level 10, instead of dexterity, which again seems to be disconnected, I would say that wisdom would be their new primary, having experience in combating their former religious organization for so long, that they've gained wisdom in defending themselves against divine magic and such. So I see it. I see the class being forsworn as being something differently than what they describe. Um, and that's the point. I would say that instead of them being alignment wise any of the neutrals, they could be any of the chaotics. And that would also kind of tie into that idea of that individualism and that self-service that they're looking for. So there you have it. So that's where I kind of fall on this. That I think that there's kind of a concept problem with this class, and it could have been, I think, tightened up and just made a little bit more of a theme, and yes, more of a niche. I understand that, but I think it would have matched better with the concept of a Foresworn that I'm thinking of. So I leave the debate up to you all as well. So feel free to jump in and feel free to jump in and talk about that in the comments. As always, like and subscribe and hit the alert buttons for new videos coming up. I apologize for it being such a long stretch. I had my daughter's graduation this past weekend, so there was no videos taking place during this past weekend. And then I've been struggling with a stomach bug for the last 3-4 days as well. So this is really the first day that I'm actually feeling good enough to sit in front of a camera and actually do a real quick video. So I will be back to my regular schedule, and just about to start a vacation in at the end of this week, and then I'm off for about a month. So I will have a lot more time to spend gaming and doing videos and just talking about the the tabletop role playing game hobby and other ventures as well. So as always, thanks for joining. I hope you liked this video, and I look forward to seeing you on the gaming screen sometime soon or in person at a convention. There's a convention coming up in September 15th and 16th. That is ShireCon in Connecticut. I believe it is in New Canaan, Connecticut, and they're getting ready to start accepting admissions or submissions for games. So please check that out and look for it. And if you can attend, if you're in the kind of the tri-state area of the Northeast here, New York, Connecticut, New Jersey, or even Pennsylvania's close enough, and possibly Massachusetts, try to make your way over to that con. It's a nice small con, and I guarantee you, last year there was some Castles and Crusades running. I would expect that there'll be some Castles and Crusades running again this year, as long as a lot of other OSR and indie games tends to be focused on that. So, as always, check out your local cons and make sure that you get there at a live table. Now that we're almost 2 years past the no live gaming going on, so now we're at the point where we're really starting to bounce back. So, as always, thanks for joining. Have a great rest of your day.